Hi everyone, and welcome to today's card tutorial. Today is part of my Altenew Academy submission. I am playing, and this submission is a part of the Impressive Heat embossing module. So I'm going to be showing you in today's tutorial some heat embossing tips and techniques on layering your powders with layering stamps. It's something I've done recently in a card makers summit that I played a part of, and it was really well received. So I thought I'd do a slow step-by-step version on how to do the process. I'm also using some Altenew Green Meadow inks, a Misty, a 3D embossing folder. Now this card is going to be fairly simple because it's really going to be technique based. Now I've got this Camellia embossing layered stamp set here. Now the biggest tip I'll give you is to prep between layers. This is going to be your best friend throughout this whole process. Prep your cardstock and prep in between layers. So a tip that I use is, if for the base, always use a opaque type of embossing powder. So it's not see-through, not translucent. You can get a good solid image. I'm going to be using the first layer, which is the solid layer, using my Misty tool here, and the Misty is going to be really handy, especially to lining up your stamps. I'll also be using two other embossing powders. One is my Fruit Tingle, and then the other one is a copper, I believe. I'll have to double check that. Now also is make sure your ink pad is good and saturated, because we will be going through the ink, especially with the first layer. So make sure that's really well saturated. You get good coverage between each layer. So making sure good coverage, perform that CPR action on your Misty. You want a good first layer. You can see it here in the light as it shines. This is opaque pastel pink, love it. And if you didn't know, I like pink, but I'm going to go for a pink floral layer today. So you can already see how cool and pastel pink this is. Now make sure the heat tool is nice and ready. Turn it on, give it about 30 seconds to heat up, and then run that heat tool over your card base. Check it out. Like, honestly, heat embossing is magic. It always elevates your cards to the next level. I'm not a really good interactive card maker. I would love to be, but my go-to techniques are always heat embossing, and if I can stretch my supplies and figure out new ways, then I will. So then I've got Bubblicious. This is Bubblicious embossing powder. This is going to be my second layer. Now before I heat emboss the second layer, to remove any static, you want to make sure you add your anti-static powder. Good, layer it right up, because really, well, you really don't want the powder to stick to other than what you've stamped. Making sure I'm lining it up. I'm following my instructions there to the left. I feel like I'm still trying to get used to embossing layers, and I really love doing it. I just got to get used to it. So I'm just lining this up first. Again, I bring my embossing powder here, my little anti-static powder here. Really, it's a must. It is the biggest must for this type of technique. I'm also going to try this technique with stencils in another video, so make sure you stay tuned. I'm loving playing with layered stencils and layered stamps, and I'm trying to show you, other than inks, another way to create the same type of effect but with embossing powders. So cool. My kids laugh at me when I say things like that. I mean, I totally think I'm cool, but that's my personal opinion, and it's obviously not theirs. All right, using my Misty, I'll line that stamped up again, and then I'm going to pour my Bubblicious. This is my embossing powder from my Pink-a-licious trios. Look how bright that looks against the opaque pink. Just wait till it melts. So I've got a little fine tip brush here to brush away any of the excess and where I don't need the embossing powder. Cool. Okay, so then I use my heat tool again on heat setting 2. Make sure it's heat up really well, and then just run that embossing tool, heat tool over the top. And you can see, like, I've left this in real time and I've kept this quite slow, this process, because I really wanted you to I really wanted to showcase to you how cool this technique is. Look, 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 looky. It's so good. I love this technique. So this is the second layer. Isn't it fantastic? Okay, now on to the final layer. The really detailed outline. Yep, we're going to do this, guys. I've lined it up with my Misty. I'm going to prep that cardstock. Prep, prep, prep. That's my biggest tip. I'm going to say it all the time throughout this video. Prep, prep, prep. Like, don't be shy with that powder. Okay. Just making sure, one more time. Have I lined it up? Yep, yep. Okay, right. Then I'm going to ink it up again. This is the final layer with my WOW Embossing Powder Ultra Slow Drying Ink. Best ink ever for heat embossing. Then I've got Metallic Gold Rich. Beg my pardon? Metallic Gold Rich. Then I'm going to make sure I brush away any of the strays. So I mustn't have prepped too much. I thought I did all right, but it was more on the outside. So I've got a bigger brush here, that powder brush, and I'm going to brush that off camera. And then if there is any fine details that I really want to brush away any excess, then I've got that little tip brush, fine tip brush there ready. There really wasn't much. I was just being overly fussy, but you know, really wanted to showcase and nail this look for you guys. Then this time I sped this up faster because it is the final layer. It's metallic gold, but I'm going to show you. Oh my goodness, how cool it is to layer embossing powders. Like, honestly, fantastic. So I've got my 3D embossing folder here. I've run that through my Big Shot, and I've pre-stamped with the green Meadows the leaves. Now I've got a panel that I've already pre-sprayed here with some Nuvo Mica Mist. I have these kind of panels ready on the go. Some things like that I have handy because if I want to heat set a sentiment, I need this good and dry. If I want to use this for pre-emboss, like for other panels ready to go to die cut, I have these panels ready to go. So these are the kind of things that, and tips and tricks that I can share along the way of, you know, what I do in my everyday crafting. So I've cut a strip out there, used my Misty to stamp. Now because it is watercolor cardstock, I did stamp it twice to make sure I got the image well, because I'm going to heat set this. Bringing in the gold again, bringing in the gold. I'm watching a lot of Olympics lately, so bringing in the gold. And then I'm going to heat set this. Same stamp set. It has this beautiful large floral image as well as some sentiments in there. Fantastic. Thank you for your kindness. I can never make enough kindness cards. I've got so much to be grateful for. I go through, these are more than happy birthday cards. I know. And I know a lot of people that I give these cards to, but I seem to gravitate and give out more kindness cards. More gratitude cards. And there it is. There's my card. What do you think? I can't wait. Oh, I beg my pardon. I had to add some gold dots, like spray dots on there. So I thought, okay, false alarm. Haven't finished my card just yet. Just adding some splatters, some spots with the tip, and then now I'm finished. Covered up the sentiment and the embossing here with just some post-it notes. I actually like that little splatter. I forgot that I did that. And there it is. I can now say my card is finished. What do you think? Can't wait to hear from you guys. Can't wait to read your comments. I absolutely love this technique and I hope you give it a go. Thanks for watching, everyone. Happy paper crafting. See ya.